Let the harvest begin.
A soul cast in hell,
It's like somebody's buried out here.
This is a spell to bring back the dead.
aching for revenge.
Whatever that old witch has got buried out there, she wants to bring back to life. Let's help her out.
Peter,
Waiting for the moment.
Entreat thy lord from far below.
You don't know the evil you are conjuring, boy.
To destroy his enemies.
Breathe life anew to thy soul.
God help us. Kill. Whatever it is.
Ain't none of us safe. He gets what he come for. Maybe what we're dealing with here ain't human.
I've never seen blood like this before.
it's him, Danny. He's here. He's gonna kill us all.
The sequel to Stan Winston's cult classic, which grossed over $50 million worldwide. Featuring the monster from the man behind Aliens and Jurassic Park. Starring Amy Dolenz, Steve Canale, and Roger Clinton. Pumpkinhead II.
Welcome back to the Gory Gaze, the horror podcast where two boyfriends, usually, slash up and bleed out your favorite horror movies, mostly but not limited to the black sheep, underrated, and forgotten gems of the genre. I'm Stanley, and Alex is still on hiatus, which is why you are here on our Patreon listening to yet another audio commentary. Thank you for being here. I'm very grateful. I mean, I thought about it the other day. I was like, you know what? I could just do a regular episode. I could just break it down scene by scene like Alex and I have been doing in the past, but I kind of like just watching the movie and giving my little 2 cents every 15 seconds, you know? So thanks for being here, guys. I don't know if it was a good time last week doing The Eyes of My Mother. I like that movie. It's a somber, sad thing, but I don't foresee myself ever really watching it again. Mikey was a lot more fun, a lot more enjoyable, I suppose. The first one I did of this little sub-series. The one that we're doing today for part 3, which it's called 49.5 for those who are just joining. 49.5. And the reason we are doing this, the reason I decided to do this is because Alex is just doing other things at the moment. He is busy, and I'm keeping myself busy too, keeping myself occupied. He's going to pop back in here and there soon, I hope. Until then, you're stuck with just me, and I'm so thrilled to slash up and bleed out Pumpkinhead II, Bloodwings. And I really mean that. Even after watching it yesterday and deciding that ultimately it's not a very good movie. I watched it a lot growing up. I watched it a lot more than the first one, which I watched before this one last night. I thought that it would be a good idea to revisit that one because it turns out I didn't remember a lot of it. I watched it when I was young and then never watched it all the way through ever again. So that was an experience. It was a lot spookier than I remembered it being. It was like a really dark fairy tale of sorts, like a backwoods fairy tale. The monster stuff was a lot less than I remember, and it was a lot more effective that way. When the ending stuff happened, I was kind of blown away by the special effects. And it just goes to show, like, the less you see, the scarier. And that doesn't mean you don't see a lot, because the monster stuff is in your face quite a bit in that movie, and the gore effects are great. That's Stan Winston, for those that don't know. Pumpkinhead 2 is not Stan Winston. I'm gonna throw that out there right now. Oh, that was a big change. Oh, I was not in the right mic space. Sorry about that, guys. Pumpkinhead 2 is a Jeff Burr film, and we'll get into who he is here in just a minute. But as I was saying, I watched Pumpkinhead 2 a lot more than I did the first one, and I think it's because it was more so from what I had remembered, a teen slasher of sorts, and it had more of an attractive cast. It had Amy Dolenz, who I really loved growing up. She was a scream queen of sorts for me. She was in a lot of movies I really liked. She was on all those VHS covers of horror sequels. She was in like Witchboard 2. She was in this. She was in a Disney sequel, Cry of the Wild Part 2. I don't know, with one of the other Amy's from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And she was in Ticks, and her dad is Mickey Dolenz, and I love Mickey Dolenz, and I have a fun Mickey Dolenz story that I might share one day. I don't know if I already have or not, but anyway, I just have always loved her. She was one of my first movie crushes, along with Christy Swanson. And then we have J. Trevor Edmond, who I did an interview with him over at Stanley Reviews, and Alex and I got to run into him over at a horror convention a couple years back, and he's a really sweet guy, and he's great in this movie, and we also got Soleil Moon Frye in this, and she's Punky Brewster. Andrew, what the hell is his name? The guy from Hellraiser, Andrew Robinson. So you got like a stacked cast, but it's like a weak-ass script, and it's all over the place, and it's trying to do a whole bunch of stuff. Like, it's trying to be an action movie, and a drama movie, and a crime movie, and a whodunit movie. It's just like the Lifetime version of Pumpkinhead Part 1. It's like very much a remake of the first movie, like with elements of the first one sprinkled throughout. I just remember having a lot of fun with it growing up. I remember it being like just a lot of gory, silly fun, and having parts of it like really spook me out. But again, that's, 8-year-old Stanley, 10-year-old Stanley. I think last night might have been the first time I actually watched it all the way through, just like the first one. And there is a sheer difference, night and day difference between Pumpkinhead 1 and Pumpkinhead 2. And I had told myself, like, hey, depending on, the viewing of Pumpkinhead 2, I'm going to watch Part 3 because I didn't even know that there was a Part 3. And there's also a Part 4. I got through the credits of Pumpkinhead 3, which is called Ashes to Ashes, I think. And oddly enough, Doug Bradley, also from the Hellraiser films, is in that one, and Lance Hendrickson apparently appears in that one, but we didn't make it past the credits. So there's that. I did want to point out that I have a Pet Cemetery connection for everything under the sun. I think this podcast could just be called The Gory Gays Pet Cemetery. They actually say the words Pet Cemetery in this film, and I think the first Pumpkinhead specifically could be in the same world as Pet Sematary, with everything that Ed Harley has to go through, especially with the witch haggis in the woods. Like, I think that stuff is so fucking well done. That stuff is so scary, and the imagery and like all the cabin stuff and the pumpkin patch and the graveyard, all that stuff is so fucking scary. And I wish that stuff could have been carried on into this sequel, because there is some good stuff in this movie, but it's just not executed the way that it could have been. And I think on paper it probably looked one way, but also, like, did it? I don't know. There's some quibbles, especially after last night's viewing. You guys, like, for instance, like, let's just get the scores and stuff out of the way now. On IMDb, it has a 4.6 out of 10. Fine, whatever. That's like almost at a halfway point. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 13%. A 13%. Like, that's pretty fucking bad. But like, on an overview scale, 82% of Google users liked this movie, and I'm one of them. Like, I have a Blu-ray of this. I spent a pretty penny on it, and I like it. Like, it's a comfort film. I'll put it on. I'll like let it play while I'm doing laundry, while I'm washing dishes, while I'm doing things. But again, last night was the first time I had sat down and watched it as a whole. And it's because I specifically mentioned last week, I want to have little moments where y'all can have some fun with me and take a little toke off your pop pipe, or take a little shot, or do something fun. And I think I finally have come up with some stuff. So I'm excited about that, and we'll get to it. I will tell you immediately that this is worth watching. I don't necessarily think you have to watch Pumpkinhead Part 1 to watch Part 2, because I had spent my entire life watching Part 2, and it could be a standalone movie. Like, it's schlocky, it's campy, and it's a completely different tone. It's like watching... No, that would be a terrible comparison. I was going to say it's like watching Troll and then Troll 2, but just completely throw that out the window. You know, it's kind of like watching Night of the Demons and then watching Night of the Demons 2. Because I kind of think Night of the Demons Part 1 has some scare factor to it. As Night of the Demon 2, or whereas Night of the Demon 2, rather, is like complete camp. So, in Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary 1, total bummer of a film. So sad, so scary, frightening even. Whereas Pet Sematary 2, not so much. I almost chose Pet Sematary 2 to be the movie that I did today as the audio commentary. But maybe next time. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll do another sequel. But for now, guys, we are going to be talking about Pumpkinhead II Bloodwings from 1994. I cannot believe this movie came out over 30 years ago. Just missed an anniversary, actually. So, yeah, I guess I don't have anything really personally to catch up on, so I'm kind of happy about that because that can just make this go by a little bit faster. Because, come on, I know you guys love us. I know you love Alex. I know you love me. And I know you love hearing all the great gory stuff going on in the restaurant business and the shoe business, and you love hearing what's going on with our dogs. Everybody's great. Everybody's awesome. Everybody's fine. We've been watching a lot of movies. Whatever else is happening is still, I still want to save it for episode 50. I think we've decided what episode or what we're going to talk about for episode 50, which I'm really happy about. I think we have decided on The Ugly Stepsister. But we've also kind of toyed with the idea that we're just going to catch up on all the movies we've seen recently and kind of roll that into like a celebratory 50th episode. But it's just a matter of when. And like, honestly, like, you guys probably don't even fucking care. Let's just get into the people under the stairs, right? Let's just fucking do it.
The people under the stairs.
So yeah, Pumpkinhead II Bloodwings is a 1994 American supernatural horror film, I guess we can call it that, and a sequel to the 1988 horror film Pumpkinhead, directed by Jeff Burr, starring Andrew Robinson from Hellraiser. You know, this guy has been around the block. He's been in quite a few things. He's acted with Clint Eastwood. He was in the original Dirty Harry back in 1971, Cobra. He was in Shoot to Kill. He was in Child's Play 3, and he had a lot of fun in that. That was before this, obviously. The last thing he was in was, movie-wise, was something called A Question of Loyalty. It was a short. I think he was a theater teacher. I can't remember if that was a real thing or not, but I think he was a founding member of the Matrix Theater Company in Los Angeles in 1993. I don't know if that is still like an active thing. He's one of the actors here that is kind of in a different movie. This movie also stars Amy Dolenz as Jenny. When she started, she was in movies like Can't Buy Me Love, She's Out of Control. And then in the 90s, she transitioned into movies like Children of the Night. If you guys haven't seen Children of the Night, 1991, directed by Tony Randall. What a schlocky, stupid, fun movie. It's got a ton of special effects, and it's that kind of goofy movie where the prosthetics just don't quite work, so they have the mouthpieces in, and they talk like they have mouthpieces in. So, but it's fun. It has some really fun moments in it. Karen Black is also in it, and anything with Karen Black is worth a watch. She was in a movie called Step Monster as well that used to air on the Disney Channel that had no right being on the Disney Channel. And I already talked about Ticks, Witchboard 2. That Cry in the Wild sequel was called White Wolves. And she hasn't acted since 2010. But she was in a movie called 2012 Doomsday that I've never even heard of that I should probably check out. Amy Dolenz. Her dad is Mickey Dolenz. He's a customer of mine at my job. And he's just the nicest guy in the world. And I had met him years and years and years ago in New York when I was like 17, 18 years old. I had just watched a production of Aida, and I waited backstage with a friend. And I met him, and he was wearing the same hat that he always wears. And when I had reconnected with him as his server at the restaurant, it was like the most wild thing. So yeah, still connected with that guy, and it's just nuts. So yeah, J. Trevor Edmond, he plays Danny. He's the bad boy in the movie. Quite literally the nicest guy ever in the world. And he would go on to do Return of the Living Dead 3. Probably the best film in that franchise. I mean, of course, outside of the original, but the second one has some merit. He also has a small part in Lord of Illusions. Clive Barker's Lord of Illusions. He's pretty good in that. Soleil Moon Frey is Marcy. That's the character name. Hill Harper is Peter. Alexander Polinsky plays Paul. He's part of our drinking game, guys, so keep that in mind. Mark McCracken is Pumpkinhead. John Gattens is Dixon. Steve Canale is going to play Judge Casper Dixon. And this one kind of threw me for a loop. I was doing some digging yesterday. And Lillian Chauvin, I'm probably pronouncing her last name wrong. She plays Miss O.C., the old witch woman in the woods. She's like the old haggis woman for this film. But yo, she's the evil nun from the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. And I had no fucking clue. I mean, I guess I always thought she kind of had a familiar presence to her, but I never put two and two together until yesterday. We also have Linnea Quigley in a cameo. Well, I should say Linnea Quigley's breasts. And I was listening to something the other day, how you can recognize Linnea Quigley's breast before you can recognize her face. And I thought that was kind of funny. Roger Clinton Jr., who is Bill Clinton's half-brother, he also makes a little appearance as, I think he's the mayor. Yes, it's about as bad as it sounds. Don't really care about anybody else. Oh, wait, I lied. Karen Kay plays Beth Braddock. That's going to be Jenny's mom. The only reason I mention her is because she's the mom from Teen Witch, and I think that's lovely. Another cameo from Kane Hodder, and then R.A. Mihailov, I think is his name, rather. He is Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw 3. I said Jeff Burr's name, but he has directed other sequels in the horror genre. He directed Stepfather 2, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Puppet Master 4 and 5, and this. And I think he also directed something called Night of the Scarecrow, which was a movie that I always passed at Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or wherever I rented my movies as a kid. And it had a cover of like a jack-o'-lantern scarecrow type of figure. I don't think it was a jack-o'-lantern. Let me click on it. I mean, it looks kind of like a jack-o'-lantern, but a scarecrow reaching for you, the viewer. And he's holding a scythe, a harvesting scythe. So he is known for directing not so great, sequels. Although I do kind of like Stepfather 2. I don't think I saw Puppet Master 4 or 5. I don't think I saw anything after Puppet Master 1. Texas Chainsaw 3 has some moments, but I don't think it belongs in that series. Just like this movie, it doesn't necessarily belong in this series. You feel me? Cinematography by Bill Dill, edited by Lauren A. Schaefer. I will give this movie some props for the editing, because that's where a lot of the fun lies. It has like the early MTV feel, and there's some stuff going on behind the scenes here where they were making a video game at the same time, like a one-person shooter game that was reminiscent of that Doom game that would later get turned into a movie. I think it was starring The Rock or some bullshit like that. But I looked this shit up yesterday. You can watch like the entire game play on YouTube, and it's really fucking bad. It was called Bloodwings, The Revenge of Pumpkinhead. And so they were filming stuff for that at the same time for this, which doesn't make any sense to me, because it's just clips of the movie within the gameplay, and the gameplay is like specifically for, what is it called, your desktop. Released on October 19th, 1994, so it's a Halloween movie, and there's a lot of Halloween stuff going on in the movie. There's like some pumpkins throughout, and you would hope so, because it's called Pumpkinhead. And the first movie, you get a lot of like a Halloween vibe. I think the first movie is definitely a Halloween movie. Running time, a very tight 88 minutes. I think that they could have added a couple more minutes, even if it was like for special effects. We should say that the special effects in this movie are by K&B, and they are rad as fuck. They leaned a little bit more into the special effects, and there are a lot of them in the first one, but I think the gore in this one, ooh boy, we get some decapitations, we get some impalings, we get a lot of blood, and it's one of the highlights of this movie. While the monster is like very, very similar to Stan Winston's in Pumpkinhead Part 1, it's a little different. I think it's a little different, and I love the Tommy effects, like the Tommy face effects, and I didn't say who plays Tommy, but Tommy is played by Jean-Paul Monod. So, yeah, that is your people under the stairs. I already gave you guys some shitty scores because it was not released to like really great reviews. But, you know, it's come around. I did a little bit of digging, and this movie holds a lot of space in horror lovers' hearts because it just came around at that pivotal time. The mid-90s, the early 90s were a really special time for us young folks. I don't really know what else I can say about the background because there's not a lot. Like I said, there are 2 sequels. I have not watched either of them. I don't know that I plan to. I'm going to get into the drinking game once we press play, which I guess we can, right? I guess we've babbled enough. I've babbled enough. But before we do that, what kind of asshole would I be if I didn't let you know what kind of assholes were responsible for giving us this movie? Apparently there are 3 writers behind this, and that would be, maybe they're a couple, maybe they are siblings, I couldn't tell you. Ivan and Konstantin Chachornia, and then there is someone named Andrew Osborne. I can tell you that the Chachornia couple / siblings are not responsible for anything else, but Andrew Osborne is known for writing for Cash Cab, apparently, and outside of Pumpkinhead II, has also written for something called Behind Enemy Lines, Blue Heat, The Case of the Cover Girl Murders, The F Word, and Blue Estate, the game. Oh, some of these are video games, to be clear. The Case of the Cover Girl Murders, that's a video game. Never heard of it. Sounds like a Cinemax skin flick. All right, yeah, I just thought that I should cover all my bases here for all of my film snobs out there. Okay, guys. Also, let me be clear on the game stuff real quick. So I think that anytime we see anything Halloween related, i.e. an actual pumpkin, a jack-o'-lantern, anything that is screaming Halloween at you, and I'll point it out when it happens, take a shot, take a hit off your cute little weed pen or whatever it is you're smoking out of. Take a sip out of your drink. I also think that anytime Paul whines, and let's face it, Paul is going to be whining quite a bit, that you should also partake in whatever kind of herbal refreshment you are going to be partaking in, or whatever kind of drinking you're going to be doing. Anytime Linnea Quigley is on screen, or you see a cameo from someone that is a horror veteran, you know, like Kane Hodder, I think that you should also partake. But don't worry, we're not done here. Anytime Amy Dolenz screams, you should also take a little dip into your fun bag. By the time Pumpkinhead II is finished, we are going to be having the time of our lives. And you guys, also, one last thing. Any time Gloria Hendry overacts, and we haven't even mentioned Gloria Hendry. She plays Delilah Pettibone, and you're going to know her the minute you see her, because once you see her, you can't unsee her. Gloria Hendry also is the first, according to her, the first African-American love interest of a James Bond character. Ask her, she'll tell you. This woman, absolutely in her own film. So we have a variety of different ways that we can get fucked up while watching Pumpkinhead II Bloodwings, guys. So let's go. 5, 4, 3. Oh, wait. Okay, last thing. The other night, I watched this on Plex just to give myself, a little refresher course. But remember, I have this on DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. So I'm going to watch it on that. It's available on Plex. You can rent it on other streaming platforms. Figure it out. I'm not your daddy. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, good luck. 1.